Okay, guys, good morning. We'll just wait another like 5 minutes before we start for others to join. Okay, God's power. I think we can start. Um, just be on standby with your screen also. When I ask you, I will let you know when to share it. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to today's class. Let me share my screen. I hope I don't have the same issue. Go to the screen. Ah, okay, perfect. So, um, for this week, we're going to be looking at how you're going to be collecting evidence, especially in a crime scene. So, if you do qualify as a forensic expert, you will be called when there is an incident. So, when there's an incident, what are you going to do when you arrive on the scene? So, just like you normally see in the movies, for a normal crime, they will come, they will take DNA pictures, whatever it is. Your own is going to be when there's a digital, like I've discussed. So, and then we'll do a demonstration, practical online. Of course, you have to go back and do yours as well. So, for today, we'll look at data acquisition. We'll introduce some data acquisition concepts, some methods, some storage formats. Uh, what are you going to do to determine what acquisition method you're going to be using? The new platforms that are there, how are you going to validate your hashing functions and algorithms? So, data formats. Normally, in evidence, there are normally three data formats. So, there is the raw format. The raw format normally will come with .dd. We will see as we go on with the course. There's the proprietary formats. Proprietary formats are if you're using a specific software that is proprietary, for example, MKs or X-Ways, all these are proprietary that you have to pay. So it's not free. Normally, raw format, you can use it on any free software. Proprietary is because you have to pay. So E01, like we're using FTK. And the rest. Raw format, you can use it on autopsy that we discussed last week. And then the AFF are advanced forensic formats. So they have advanced functionalities normally. It's very good to see. So before you do any acquisition, once you arrive at the crime scene itself, the first and foremost, what you should do is to isolate the crime scene from any tampering. As you can see on this picture, I deliberately included it. So you have to put the tape. Normally, you put yellow tape or you block it with one of your staff or personnel so that nobody tampers with the evidence as you arrive. So we need to preserve the crime scene the way it is. So as you can see, there is a computer. What we're focusing on is the digital devices. There is a computer, there's a tablet, there's a hard drive, all sorts of things that you need to preserve and isolate. Also, you might think about also documenting it by taking some pictures of how it looks originally so that you can have reference to it later on to see if it was tampered with later on. So normally it's for documentation purposes, but we normally use it also for reference purposes. So isolate the crime scene and take pictures of the crime scene. So once you arrive, you need to identify. Identification is very, very important. You need to identify all the digital devices. So as you can see, we're not focusing on whatever happened. Maybe somebody was killed or whatever happened. This is not our focus. Our focus is okay. There is a wireless access point or a router here behind the TV. There is a TV, which is we have to take it also. There is a laptop in the living room. Yes. It is in the room. You can see there's a digital camcorder. We have to take that. There is a tablet here or PDA, as we used to say before, normally a tablet. And then the victim also has a phone. So our own part is to focus on the digital devices. Other police or scientists will now focus on whatever it is that is the DNA, the victim. Our focus as forensic expert is to focus on the digital devices. So you have to identify whatever it is within your surrounding. So like I said, wireless access point, TV, cell phone, camcorder or camera, your tablet, and your computer, whether it's a laptop or a desktop. So you can see we have identified all what we need to consider our case on our own side. Remember, you are here to support the case with digital evidence. So, just like we showed, sources of data that you can look for. Nowadays, even wireless headphones can be used as digital evidence. They have RAM memory that you can store short-term memory, including your headphones. Mouse for it keeps connectivity of which computer it's connected to in terms of its Bluetooth. You can see there is an SD card we can use. The camera itself has internal memory that we can use. Even gaming consoles you can take because it can tell you a lot about the data that you need. Hard drives, of course, the tablet and the phone. Nowadays, even digital headsets that you normally use for your VR or virtual reality, they also contain a lot of evidence that we can use, and of course, the computer. So do not overlook any digital device. You need to collect them for analysis. So preservation. Of course, when you start, when you collect it, you need to wear gloves. Yes, please. You might come with dirty hands that might affect the hard drive that you're collecting. Please, it's advisable to wear gloves so that you don't contaminate or damage the hard drive or any digital devices that you collect. In terms of preservation, when you're collecting them, you need to put them in a bag normally and label it as evidence. So it's not like you see, I think many people are telling us as they see in the movies, it's not just evidence, physical evidence, but even mobile phones you can do it for. If they are off, you put them in the transparent bag and label on top. If not, if it's still on, you put it in what we call the Faraday bag. So the Faraday bag, when you put it, it does not allow any signal to go out or in, but the device will still be on. So once you put it in, you can see on the top that there will be no signal inside. So the Faraday bag blocks all signals coming in or out of the bag. So it's a special bag that we normally use for forensic acquisition. And then finally, if you have collected them in the bag and bagged them unlabeled, you should also consider chain of custody, like we discussed last week. So chain of custody is very important. Who collected this? You are the first person, so your name should be the first. Who you're going to hand it over to do the analysis, or if you're doing it, you need to fill up the chain of custody as well. So that is what we're going to do. So up till now, we're still collecting the devices. We have not started anything. We have arrived at the scene. We have secured the scene. We have taken documentation and pictures of the scene. We have identified digital devices from the scene. We have now collected the devices for preservation. Now, before you start your acquisition, after following all these steps, there are three types of data acquisition. There is the static, which is the normal acquisition that you will be doing. There is the live acquisition. So if your mobile phone or computer is on the way you found it, this is where you're going to perform live acquisition. But normally you have to uh, know what you're doing before you can do live acquisition. Because they're very, very difficult. Sorry, excuse me. So, uh, and then logical acquisition or sparse acquisition means you're not acquiring the entire device or the drive. You're going to choose a specific area. Let's say in the hard drive, you're choosing only one logical part of the hard drive to focus on. Yes. So like I said, static acquisition. It's typically what we normally do when we arrive at the scene or we collect all these digital evidence. It's the same thing. It's the most common one. It's the one that you are going to learn also. So what we are going to do is get everything on the drive or everything on your particular target device, whether it's a hard drive, whether it's a flash drive, whether it's a computer itself or whatever it is. We acquire everything, including the RAM. Now, on the other hand, live acquisition is done still when the computer is still on. So one of the main things that you should look at here is the RAM itself. Normally, the RAM will be lost after turn off your system. So, and sometimes if the victim is not willing to cooperate to give the password and you don't have time to crack the password, you normally then choose the live acquisition. And also, there is a case of if they're expert hackers, they normally install something called the logic bomb. So something that is being triggered and then start wiping the device itself. So if you're not very careful, it might start automatically wiping itself if you click something that is not supposed to be. So this is why we do live acquisitions. But before you do live acquisitions, you need to be competent enough based on the ACO principles that we discussed. I hope everybody has understood and memorized the 4 principles of the ACO principles because we're going to be applying them as we are going. So it's just application, you apply them. So the ACO principle 2 says if you do tamper with the evidence, because now you're connecting to a live device. So that means we are tampering with the evidence. But our reason is, then we give reason. It's because the attacker may wipe off the evidence or we might lose the RAM. So you have to give reasons. So this is the ACO principle 2. I hope that is clear. This is not from me. God's power, can you confirm whether the voice or the voice is clear? Somebody is complaining. I don't like. Guys, can you confirm if everything is clear from the voice? God's power. Please, can you confirm? But is it clear? Yeah, the base is much because I'm in a closed environment, and anytime I use my mic, you guys don't like it, so I just use the inbuilt one. Sound is clear. Okay. Okay. Most of the people say it's clear. So to perform a live acquisition, normally you create a bootable or forensic disk on your drive. I'm sure you're IT experts. You know how to create a bootable forensic drive or any bootable drive on your CD with the software itself. Normally, we're going to be using, like today, we're going to be using FTK imager. So you need to have the FTK imager light on the drive that you're going to plug in, because you're performing live acquisition, not normal acquisition. Because once you plug anything to the evidence, you have tampered with it. So you have to explain this also. And the first step is for you to copy the RAM, which is the physical memory, and then try to get whatever you can based on the scope of the case, whether it's to image the whole drive or you image a particular file or whatever it is. So note that we cannot never ever work on original evidence. You have to do the imaging, and that is where we're doing forensic acquisition. So I have to mention this. If I ask you, why do we have to perform forensic acquisition or extraction while we already have the evidence there? Why can't we just work with it? So again, I will go back to ACPO principle 2, which says you do not tamper with the evidence. So we never ever work directly with the evidence. And secondly, acquisition is not the same as copying. So acquisition, basically from the definition that we saw earlier, is taking the full bit by bit copy of the drive. So it's not like copy and paste, no. It takes everything the way it is preserved. So it makes a full disk copy, not a file by file copy. So that is the difference. It's not the same as copy and paste. So copy and paste is different from acquisition or extraction. So it preserves the evidence the way it is and then duplicates it so that you can work on something that is exactly the same as the evidence and not directly as on the evidence. Please take note. Very, very important. You never ever work directly on the evidence. And that is the main reason for today's class. So how do you determine which acquisition method to use? So you have 4 methods to choose from based on your case. So let's say your case is involves just a flash drive. You can use the create disk to image file. So it's just a disk that you can now convert to an image file using your FTK imager that we're going to see. Disk to disk is normally what you're going to be doing every time. So from the hard drive of the evidence itself to another hard drive. So it makes a disk to disk copy. So again, it's not copy and paste, it's logical imaging. And then you have sparse data copy of a file or folder. So like I said, depending on your scope. If your scope is not the whole computer itself, just focusing on, okay, there is a computer, there is a part of the drive or a folder that you have been instructed to only focus on, then you can do the sparse data copy. So like I said, determine the best method depend on the circumstances of the investigation. So what is the investigation? We're going to look at one scenario today, and then you will determine which acquisition method to use. Like I said, the most common to use is disk to image. So if you have a disk, it will take you to the image aspect. And then you have a few tools that you can use, like NCase, which is one of the most common ones. FTK is what we're going to be using. SleuthKit is the autopsy that we know. The parent company is called SleuthKit. And also, if you're using Kali, it's going to be called SleuthKit, but it's the same as autopsy. It's the company that bought autopsy. So also, size of the disk, you need to know. So there's one principle of acquisition. Your own disk needs to be bigger than the evidence disk. So if you have your evidence and it's a computer that is 500 gig in memory, so your image disk needs to be at least 1 terabyte then, because it cannot be the same, it has to be above. So if you have something like 800, 900 gig disk, then you can use it for the acquisition, because normally it creates slack, something we call slack. So it will create give a bit of space for the evidence to be able to be mounted on a newer hard drive for your evidence. So make sure if it's 500 gig, what we normally do, if your evidence is 500 gig, your own hard drive should be 1 terabyte that you will make the acquisition into. If it's 1 terabyte, we get 2 terabytes or 1.5, something bigger. So make sure that it's not either lower or the same. It has to be bigger. Please just make sure. Advanced forensic methods, or they're emerging, which is the future actually. So we have started doing forensic investigations in the cloud these days. So there are two ways that you can do it. You either go physically to the cloud data centers themselves. So if you have a data center, you go to all the servers and the memory servers that are there, and then you do your acquisition there. Or you request for that particular data. For example, if you're doing an investigation on that involves Facebook servers, you, as a law enforcement agent, only law enforcement agents are allowed, you can request for that particular data to be acquired from their data center, following legal technical methods, even though there are challenges and it takes time, but eventually you will get. Yes. So, for example, I just gave you from Facebook. If it's from smartphones, then there is something that we're going to do next week, which is called mobile forensics. It's a little bit the same, but a little bit different in terms of imaging and collecting the drive or the memories. And we will do also a practical on mobile forensics as well for next week. So next week is for mobile and network forensics. So we'll look at both at the same time. So some contingency that you should have. So even if you create an image of your evidence and you have a copy, you should, just to be on the safe side, you should either at least have 1 or 2 backup, just in case you tamper with the one you're working on or it fails, you have a backup also. So it's just, like I said, common sense normally wins in forensics. So it depends. If you feel, okay, I need to, this is a very difficult case, I need to have 2 more extra copies of the acquisition, then we should use it. So what if you have drives that are encrypted? So for example, Windows normally comes with default BitLocker. So, but if you're starting your analysis, you will find it very, very difficult to do any type of analysis because all the data will be encrypted, basically. So what you have to do is you have to follow the legal chain, number 1, to either decrypt the device, which might take a little bit of time, or you recuperate the decryption key from the victim who is still available. If he doesn't provide it, then you have to find a way to decrypt it. So there are many decryption methods and decryption tools, which you're going to do in the next module, which is normally encryption. Yes. So that is the skill that you need to apply in forensics. Like I said, you need almost all the skills that you need in computer science or in computing to apply when you're performing forensics. So hashing. Hashing normally with the tools we're going to be using. Hashing basically is going to provide you a value of the particular image itself before you start imaging, so that when you finish imaging, it will also generate another value. Then you can compare the two to see if they match. If they match, then you know that the evidence was not tampered with. This is very, very important. Even in court, they will ask for the MD5 hash before you image the drive and the MD5 image hash after you image the drive. So they need to match. So hashing is very, very important. Autopsy has it. So before and after your analysis, it's always good to compare the hashes. It automatically, for autopsy, it automatically compares the hashes for you. So it's very, very important. I think I wanted to especially mention the hashing data. Yes, so this is what it does. So once you start the imaging, to show you all the hashes that are available, normally you use SHA-1 or MD5. So as you can see, this is before it was imaged, and then After the image, you paste the one that it generates here so that it will compare for you. As you can see, it has matched with the SHA-1. So SHA-1 was used before imaging, and after the imaging was completed, uh, you paste the SHA-1 and it will tell you that it has matched. So this is very, very important in determining the integrity of your evidence. If this one doesn't match, then you have a problem. You cannot put it in the, it is not admissible in the court of law, and you might lose the case. So this is very, very important. So for real data acquisitions, normally it's normally done in the server rooms, cloud data servers, and the rest. So it's RAID is basically a random array of independent disks. So normally when you see a server that has different disks, 2 terabyte disks, like 20 of them arranged to become one device, then how are you going to be imaging them? So there is a separate way that you can arrange them as one normally, or you can segregate them into different RAIDs that you have, and then acquire each and every one of them. So normally with RAIDs, we only have one problem, which is size. So, but as a forensic expert, you need to be ready for any size. When you go into any forensic lab, the most devices that you see there are large hard drives, 10 terabyte hard drives, 20 terabyte hard drives, which you cannot find anywhere actually. But you could maybe in cloud data centers, you can find something like that. So we have those in case we have case with RAID disks. So we use that. Like I said, always make sure that you have a bigger hard drive than your evidence. So network acquisition tools, which I just introduced this so that you can have a feel of what we're going to do in network forensics. So this is where we're going to make use of Wireshark basically to acquire a particular packet capture of something that had something happened. Maybe somebody visited a website that he is not supposed to. So how are you going to analyze the PCAPs? But one of the problems that we have with network acquisition is we might get blocked with, if it's a very strong antivirus or anti-spyware, or your firewall is very well configured, you might have issues connecting to that particular target. And also, like I said, the issue of, I mentioned earlier that some people might install software that can remotely wipe their hard drives, so which is the logical bomb. So network acquisition normally triggers these kind of things because it detects something like remote access intrusions. Then it thinks it's something that is bad, and then it will alert the logic bomb, then the wipe can now start. So these are the two disadvantages. But with time, we normally use, I don't know, like I said, common sense to try to bypass all these and the skills that you have gained over the years. For me, to bypass antiviruses, normally, what I will do is to run, before acquisition, to run the evidence as in safe mode. That will at least reduce some risks for me. That is the method I use. Everybody has its own method, but in safe mode, sometimes, especially if it's Windows or Linux, we normally have some degree of capability that we can use there. So, somebody was already asking about this before we even started. So, when we start the analysis, you start seeing hexadecimal hashes, algorithms. So there are many ways that you can view your evidence. So it has an inbuilt hex editor for FTK that we're going to be using today. So instead of you going to use a different software like WinHex to decode whatever the values are, for you to see them in ASCII or in clear text, automatically this device does it for you. The software does it for you to make it a little bit easier. So before you start, you already have your own, like I mentioned, your hash value at hand, and then you can view it separately if you want. So it's just for viewing. You can use WinHex. WinHex is just a tool to view hex files, and also to know which hashing algorithms are provided in the particular file, whether it's MD5 or SHA-1. It's just the view. So some advantages and disadvantages of the tools that we're going to use. For Windows, even though for this class I'm using Mac, so I will have some difficulty using some of the tools. My Windows laptop is here, but it's not used for forensic. My forensic workstation is a desktop, which is in the office, and I don't have access to it today. So normally we have a dedicated forensic workstation. So normally if you have Windows, the acquiring of the evidence is normally very convenient. But some issues that you will have is the protection in terms of your firewall. Even using tools such as Write Blocker, which I'm going to show you. I think it's in the... Yes, exactly. So it's here. So you can see when you're approaching digital cases, you need to use a Write Blocker. So a Write Blocker is something that actually preserves the evidence. So instead of you plugging it directly via USB to your forensic workstation to acquire the drive itself directly, you need to use a Write Blocker. What the Write Blocker does is it blocks anything coming into the drive or going out of the drive. So it's a Write Blocker. It blocks in and out. It only makes sure and ensures that it's only that forensic acquisition that is happening to make a disk, a logical image of the particular hard drive to your target hard drive. So let me give you an example of why we use a Write Blocker. Let's say you just plug your hard drive or USB. Once you plug in that USB, on the USB itself, the log files have already changed and has registered that it has been connected to a particular computer. So we don't, even the log files, we don't want to tamper with. That is why we use a Write Blocker. So Write Blockers are blocking into the hard drive or out of the hard drive. Only the logical disk copy is being made. So this way, using a USB Write Blocker, we maintain the integrity of the code. So anybody that, this is where normally we catch people that are not experts. They just, okay, I know how to use FTK Imager, I know how to do analysis, I'll just connect the evidence directly to my drive, and then voila, we start. That's all. So if you don't have a Write Blocker, it affects the integrity of your evidence. So we'll do questions later. So we'll do a little bit of demonstration. This is going to be our setup for the lab. So of course, this is the evidence that we have. Let's say it's a hard drive from the computer. Then we plug it directly to a Write Blocker. So this is our Write Blocker. Now this Write Blocker is connected to our forensic workstation. And then this Write Blocker is connected to our hard drive in the lab. So what we want is to copy this, make an image of this to be transferred here so that we can start doing analysis here instead of working directly on the evidence. You get the connection. So it's very good for you to know how to do the connection in your lab, if you have a lab, or at your home, or any investigation. This is the standard way of performing acquisition. So if you don't have this, I'm not sure you're doing it right. So I will take it one more time. This is your evidence. Your evidence will now be connected to a Write Blocker. Now this Write Blocker is what is connecting both your computer, which you're using or you have installed FTK Imager on, to your hard drive destination. So this is what you are going to be working on for the analysis. So you're transferring everything here to here, but then it has to go through a right blocker. I hope that is fine. So um, I'll just show you about just a little video on how to do imaging. We're using FTK Imager. So there is this link I will share with you. I will share this link with you to download FTK Imager. If you can see, yes, this is the link. I think I shared with you. So you can download Imager that we're going to be using right now from this link. I will share it with you. The video that I'm going to show you is uploaded here in case you want to look at it. And also I've created a document that you can use to follow the step-by-step that we're going to follow now. It's documented. So just in case if you have any questions, I've already prepared for your questions. So please don't worry. So make sure this is very clear. Let me see the quality. Yes, I think it should be better now. So normally when you install your FTK Imager, you should have a view like this normally. You should have a view like this. So what you should do normally is to, there is a button up here that you can see the green button here. That is what we are going to be using, add evidence. So once you click add evidence, a window is supposed to pop up for you to start your evidence. And then you follow the instructions that come after. So you can see that we have added a USB device, physical device called no name. So the no name is what we added here. I think this one, yes. So with the physical drive, once you click the add evidence, it will show you. So normally we keep it as a physical drive just to be on the safe side. And then you click on next. If your evidence normally is a CD, you select it. If it's a file, if it's a logical drive, whatever it is, a type of your evidence that you have, you select it here normally. And then you go next until you click yes, yes, and then you have your evidence added inside the imager itself. So once you have your evidence added, I will show you the document itself. So you can go through this for what we just did already. It's finished step by step here also, which I will share it also as usual. I always share my all my notes. So this will also be shared. So we already have something that I plan for us to do today. So I will just give you a brief. Yes. So we have already evidence here as fdisk-drive.eo1 that we have already acquired using FTK Imager. Now what we plan to do with it is just to do some analysis. So Edafe, please can you share your screen so that we can go through this? Are you there? Can you share your screen? So I want us to see like a real life case. Yes, okay.
Yes, I'm here. Okay, just a minute.
Yes, please share your screen because you're using Windows. So I want us to see like a real life. An open FTK software. An open FTK software. Exactly. Yes. So just rename the case as exactly ideas case one. Yes. So just rename the case as exactly ideas case one. Yes.
Sorry.
Ideas case one, please.
Uh, whose mic is called?
So just rename the case as ideas case one. Yes, you just put for the name, just put investigator A. Yes. Case name, just write test case. Yes, and just leave the part like that. In the description, just put we are testing how to do investigation. Yes. Then okay. Okay. Yes, start a new case. Mhm. Click on the down button if it will, your own name will appear now. No, no, no. On the investigator name, it should appear what you just entered. No, no, investigation name. There's an arrow on the right. Okay, it didn't appear. So just put in the information again, just quickly, so that we can pass this all this. Case number one. Case name, just test case. It's okay. Case description, testing the listing. We'll go next so that we'll pass this. Write ideas. Write students. Just students is okay. Then next. No need to put the rest. Next. Next. We need to do all these things. Next. Yes, so add evidence. So remember, we just showed you how to collect evidence. So we already have evidence now. No acquired image of a drive. Same, just continue. Yes. We already have. So where's the evidence that you downloaded earlier? Please select the evidence. Exactly, yes. So just put the ID number as 1. 1. So go to time zone. No. Time zone is very, very important. I want us to assume this was done in Nigeria. So we'll go and select the Nigerian time zone, which is Africa, Lagos, I think. Scroll down. Because of your timeline analysis that you're going to do, it needs to be very, very accurate. Yes. So if you use American, this thing to mix up your timeline. So okay, that's all. Okay. So you can see we have collected the evidence. Next, we are now adding evidence. Next, to do analysis. Yes. Now finish. So maximize this page when it finishes. Let it add. So it's adding the evidence to FTK. So we have collected evidence on FTK imager. Now we are going to do analysis on that particular image. So instead of working directly on the image itself or the evidence, so we had to image it. Now we are working on it. So imaging is quite simple if you have the setup all correct. So it will take a little bit of time. I think let's just wait for it. It's a very small evidence. So it's just adding the evidence. We can do, let me see if I can find some things to do. Let's just wait a little. Okay. Can you maximize the full page? Exactly. So we have our evidence here. So on the top left pane, you have all your evidence categorized from this particular computer. So you can see at the top the total items, yes. So if we want to identify it by file category, which is the third pane, we have how many documents? 72 documents. We have graphics, 8, email messages. So on the top pane, after overview, explore, graphics, email, go to email. Yes, click on that. Exactly. Yes. So click on the webmail, yes. Click on any, like the first mail. So scroll down so that we can see the mail itself. So you can see if you image a hard drive, the thing that you will be able to see, who it was sent from, the content of the email, exactly. So can you go back to overview? Go to deleted files, which is on the file status, deleted files or recycle bin, anyone. Exactly. So click on any of them. So you can see the details. So this document is called DC1.doc. It was deleted when? On the 9th, 2005. It was removed from the recycling bin itself. So you can see all these is what we call digital dust. So all these things are items that are inside the recycling bin that were done. So there are questions that will come from this that you need to find. So what I need you to do right now is to go to the search menu, go to search on top. Go to search. Top, yes. So search item on the top. Search BUNTING. Bunting. NG. Yes. Add. So add it. Yes. And then view cumulative results. Okay. Click on OK. Because my first question is the person that was arrested is called Mr. Bunting or M. Bunting. So I need you to give me details of who that person is. Anything you can find on that particular person on this hard drive is what I need. So you'd use the search button, it will tell you. So go to the bottom. You can see everything that is displayed here, but don't click on anything. Go to the top. You'll see 10 hits. 10 hits on the top right. Yes. Click on the plus. No. Right. Right side of you. Yes. On top. Click on the plus. So these are all everything containing Mr. Bunting. Aha. So you can see what let's check the first one. Open the first one, the plus sign on the first one. Exactly. So you can see it's an email. So click on anyone. Let's see. Exactly. So come there and scroll. Let's see. So what can you say about Mr. Bunting? His name is Steve. Okay, we know. I mean, you can gather a lot of things. So depending on what the case is requiring. So this case is we want to know who is Mr. Bunting. So you should gather whatever details, every single scenario that you need to tell us for us to know who is Mr. Bunting. You can find it in this particular computer. That is just the first question. There are so many things that you need to find. I can ask you to find a particular document that was deleted, so you go and find it, and then tender it as evidence because the guy deleted it maybe for something. So you can stop your screen share now. Thank you very much, Gospa. Because of time. So let me share my screen just to show you. This week you do not have a quiz. It's not a quiz per se, it's a practical exercise based on what we just did. So sharing. Let me share again. I don't know why it's delaying. Still trying to share my screen. Why? Okay, so you can now see. So what I want to show you is the exercise itself. So based on that particular evidence, which you are going to be provided with, so this is your practical quiz for this week. So normally you will have your details that you will enter, and then the section 2 is to read the background of the case. So you have a background to read from. When you have read everything, you have a link in Google Drive here to download the evidence itself. So don't forget, I'm going to provide you with FTK Imager. I'm going to provide you with the FTK's tool itself, and then this is the evidence that you can download to use. Now, there are a few questions that you need to answer. I think we started this. Our suspect was mentioned by a few witnesses as M. Bunting. Who is he or she? So you need to go and find out from the evidence, and then you write whatever you can find here. Second question is the suspect statement. Describe the document as DC. So there's a document called DC3. So, but we couldn't find it. So what we need to know is what happened to it and when was the action performed. So you need to go and find what happened to that particular document. So what happened to it. And then the final question is find the following items from the image for further evidence processing. So you need to look for what is a Vonage advert. We're looking for a download link to Shockwave Flash. I think the suspect used it for replaying CCTV footages. And also, when was this document printed? So Microsoft Unix password for beginners, when was it printed? So that is what we want to know. So it's quite easy. I think one of the easiest cases you can solve right now. Everything will be provided for you, as we have mentioned. So FTK Imager is there for you just to practice, but for this case, you only need the FTK software. So Edafe, please can you share to everyone a link, or you can share the folder, the link that I sent to you for the FTK to everyone, please, so they can download the software itself, so that you can use with this image already given you also. Yes, okay. And then the image is here, you can download it and then import it and then start your analysis. So I will share this particular document also. For those that want to see step by step, you can go through it as well. It will be shared. So I think for today, we have done very well. So now is the time for questions and answers. So I think we have a few minutes. Edafe, how many minutes do we have?
We still have about 20 minutes.
Okay. So we'll take the next 10 minutes to answer questions. Yes, thank you for sharing the software. Please, Ajiroba Mustafa, sir, the materials. There is no class for the past few months. I have shared every single material. And you are still asking, like, I'm not going to give you. You have to ask before I give you. Everybody has been provided. Even the last class, I provided that. You just need to go to your, and I've even sent it to your reps to even share it in the groups, but it's there on your portal. Everything is there. I don't keep anything. Everything is being shared. It's for you to go and practice and read them. So we can't cover everything in class. It's for you to at least go and go through whatever we have done in them. So I'm waiting for the questions. The only questions I'm seeing is just materials. Okay. Margaret Elechi is saying, I already downloaded FTK image, although I encountered errors trying to download autopsy. After inputting my details, the page I encountered an error. So you just have to create an account, I think, for autopsy. In fact, even this particular assignment that you're doing, you can use autopsy if you have, but this is just easier to use the FTK software. Okay, Mr. Kende is asking to explain digital signature to the acquisition and why digital signature for it when it has been hashed. Yes. So, like I said, it's just to maintain the integrity of the particular drive or your evidence. So, the way you found it, before you start, it will take the software will take the hash for integrity, the digital signature of it, and then after it will also take so that to make sure that nothing happened in between you finding the evidence and then collecting the evidence in between, nothing happened. So it's just to maintain the integrity of your evidence. I hope that's okay. Please, are we using FTK for the assignment? You can use FTK or autopsy. Anyone can work. It's easier for you because you're just starting. Instead of you jumping into autopsy, which is a bit complicated, you can start with this simple FTK software. Very simple. So that is Mr. Scarlett TV. I want you to recap the method in answering our CA. It's just to, once you start the analysis, you just answer it and type. That's just this. That's just it. Step by step instruction, it will be shared. It's there. Everything is there. I've already compiled everything. It's just to put it for you. Don't worry. So if the hard drive recovered at the scene is crashed already, can FTK be used to recover? No. So if it crashed, you have to use another separate, you have separate suite of tools as a forensic expert to use it to actually make the hard drive running before you can start your acquisition and analysis. So you have to repair it first. That's why in a team, you need a hardware specialist also, somebody that can solve these kind of hardware issues. That's for Enyoma Daniel. Can evidence be wiped so totally that you may not be able to find traces even in Slack spaces? Yes, it's possible. So there are certain aspects that when you get into forensics deeply, we call them anti-forensic practices. So mostly experts try to do these kind of things to cover their traces. So yes, that is a disadvantage that you cannot actually, we call it bleaching. So what they do is they bleach the hard drive. You can see in movies, some people, when they know they're getting caught, they will remove the hard drive and put it inside microwave. So that one will destroy it beyond any type of position of forensics. So all those things are anti-forensic practices. So does it mean you will need a different computer for forensics than the yes, if you're going to do it professionally, now you're learning you don't need, but professionally because it consumes a lot of RAM and hard drive space. So what we even do is we buy specialized computers and call them forensic workstations. So it's just for forensics. That is your if you're going to be practicing professionally. Where can I download for the FTK image? Google it. Last time we gave you the Mr. Isaac Tosi. We gave you the link. People have already downloaded. We gave you the link last time, and I'm going to give you again. I just showed you the document that I will share with you, even if you can't Google. For those that don't know how to use Google, I will send you the link. Somebody, Scarlet TV again, is asking, how can we download FTK image? If you don't know how to use Google, I will send you the link. No, Mr. Laser Tech, you don't need BitLocker right now. No. Unless for this Exercise you don't need. Again, Mr. Emmanuel, you want to jump to cryptography again. We have discussed it unless you are not paying attention or you are not in class. Since last month, I told you that is the last module you're going to be taking. You are still asking. I mean, some of these questions, I'm still going to start ignoring them. Yes. So any human is a CCTV camera can be found in the crime scene and be included. Yes, it can be. CCTV can be used, and you can also image it and also analyze it. Yes. Installation was blocked for your safety. Yes, you need to. If you have that issue, you need to go and disable your firewall at least, because maybe it's looking at it as a virus or something. But you can see we have used it and have used it for a long time. So let's see. For those using Linux or Ubuntu, yes, you can, but you have to use it on command line. It's available. FTK Imager is available even on Mac, but it's on command line. So if you're good with Linux, then you can use it also. Yes, you can. Absolutely. How can we easily identify a file on a crime PC or data acquire? Don't understand that English. Yes, your autopsy link was not opening anyway. Yeah, it's your own. Others that have said, many of them that have said they have opened, they have downloaded also. And you're complaining here. Some of these I don't understand. Yes, so that means Mrs. Tayikan, if you have that error that admin blocked, so you have to run it as administrator and use the password. That means you're not the admin of your computer. Why is FTK image? That means there's a problem. Why are you using OS forensic tool? We're not using it. It's for mobile forensics. So you're getting ahead of yourself. You want to do roofing before you have finished foundation. Okay. You cannot use your phone, Mr. Hamza. How many times have I told you? Is your phone, which type of phone are you using? Even if you're using iPhone 35, there's no way you can run all this kind of stuff. Yes, some Androids can run Kali Linux, but that means you have to wipe the whole phone and use it only for Kali Net Hunter. That's all. You can't. It's like saying you want to build a house with one shovel, or with you want to build your house with a toy shovel. It's not possible. Bashir Sani. So all this while you don't even know the importance of forensics in the country, but you have been listening. You have explained to it at the beginning. That means you are not paying attention. Kichiku Marvelous. How has the evolution of technology influenced the tools, techniques used in data acquisition? Evolution of technology, definitely. So what they have done is, since so you can see for this particular simple case, we're using FTK1. The FTK is up to, they have a very, now FTK1 is the only one that is free. They have now evolved to even use all the modern tools. So the latest FTK can even do cloud forensics, or it can do mobile forensics, it can do all these things. So emergence of technology as it goes, you can even do, we've done drone forensics on FTK, the latest one, not this one. So Mr. Israel Eze, how I have downloaded FTK file on MacBook, but it says they don't have the application to. Of course, the FTK you have is for Windows. I'm using Mac. I mentioned this at the beginning. The reason why I'm not opening it is because I'm not on my forensic workstation. I'm using my Mac. How can you download .exe and expect it to work on Mac? I mean, these are fundamental things that we shouldn't be discussing. This basic common sense. Basic common sense. Even if it's FT, not FTK, whatever software, you go and download .exe, you're seeing .exe, and you want to open it on Mac. I mean, does it make sense? It doesn't. I mean, I expected everybody should have passed that level. You are doing cybersecurity, you are doing forensics, you should have passed the basics of computer. Are corrupted files retrieved with FTK? Yes, some are retrieved. Yes, Mr. Abdulhafiz. Some are retrieved. Yes. Miss Faith Solomon. Can I use OS forensics? What the name itself? What does it tell you? OS forensics tool. It's basically it's used normally it's the iOS forensic tool that is normally used. Is used for mobile forensics. How can you do it to replace FTK email? It's not possible. I mean, some of these questions, I'm just very, very surprised. That's why I'm not sure many of you can even do cybersecurity, or it's just that's why some questions we have moved. This is advanced computing. You're going back to primary school basics. It's sad, actually. I'm not sure you can be allowed to even enroll for this course if you don't know all these things. It's going to be hard for you to even pass or even practice if you don't know these things. It's marvelous because I was wondering how sophisticated analysis are being done by DSS, FBS, because they are using. Do you think EFCC, DSS don't have paid license of FTK? They paid thousands, $10,000, $20,000 license to use FTK. We're using just the free version. All of them have FTK imager. All of them. Because FTK imager is free. FBI, whatever it is. Go and look at if you watch a series of cybersecurity, there's a particular episode of I think is the series FBI, I think, yes, FBI series, that they used a tool that is commonly used for mobile forensics that we have been using here in Nigeria, Celebrite. They use it on the go. FTK is used by everybody. It's just that we're using the free version, they're using the paid one. Yes, it can be used, Mr. Felix. It can be done on SSD. Hard drive is hard drive. They have posted something even on this YouTube channel. Illumination TV is asking. Mr. Foster is asking. Everybody is asking. We have posted it over and over. Instead of you to scroll up, you're still asking. I mean, I will have to cut these questions short because it's like you don't even have questions to ask. Let me see if there are any relevant questions. There are many series that you can watch. Let me see if I can find. We still have time. I think we have 7 minutes. But let me see if I can find one. I'm trying to see. if there's any no, there isn't. Yes. So for the person that asked, you should go and watch CSI Cyber. So it's called CSI Cyber. Very, very good for both forensics investigation and cybersecurity itself. So they're investigating cases of cybercrime. What do you mean you don't have access to the community? You don't have access to your portal, your dashboard, Mr. Ikechukwu? If by now you don't have access to your portal, I'm not sure there's hope for you. Honestly, up till now, you don't have. Everything is not on WhatsApp or anything. You should either be officially on the Telegram channel or via your portal. Everything is there. So what else do you need? Everything is on your portal. Every single thing. I upload the whole folder normally. That's what I do for any material that you need. Links, everything. I normally put them there. Ms. Janet, it's CSI Cyber, not Fiber. Okay, Mr. Wisdom, Law Enforcement Agency. Okay, it shouldn't be new. I think your technical team should be able to be should have been using it because I've used it for the past 15 years. So I think without I cannot be able to access. I'm not sure. Then you complain to admin, please, Mr. Idris. He's not here. You can't complain to some complaints. You cannot complain to your instructor. It's administrative issue. What should I do about it? I should go and start asking questions and start investigating. Okay, what are the administrative part doing? What should they do for over 1,000 students? Mr. Emmanuel, what kind of damages can affect forensic process being carried out? Many. If you don't follow, first, if you have RAM, you need to do live acquisition. It can be damaged. If you don't secure the area, it can be damaged by, the evidence can be damaged by water, fire, whatever it is. If you, I mean, they're endless. They can affect you. You download FTK version 4.7. Is it FTK or FTK image? There's a difference in your Daniel. Because I don't know which one you're talking about. There's the imager and then there's the software itself. Wonder Mustafa, I have. It's not working. So God's power, I think we're done. So I will see you guys next week. We'll try to do more practicals like this, and then try to get you all in tune. So see you next week.